Welcome back to Aircel Chennai Speaks Out. In this segment, we will deal with the issue of emotional abuse, the emotional abuse that children are often subjected to. Let us start by looking at some facts and figures. Every second, a child in India faces emotional abuse. An equal number of boys and girls face this form of abuse. 83% of the abusers were parents. 48.4% of girls wished that they were actually born boys. Let's ask the panelists, what does emotional abuse actually mean? Sangeeta, let me start with you.
We teach our children to ride bikes, to drive cars, to play with computers, but we don't teach them how to handle their emotions, what to do when there's a problem, how to manage their anger, what to do when their neighbor bullies them. We don't teach them any of these emotional issues.
Right.
I don't know why.
Right.
Prime responsibility of every parent to get a complete picture of what a parenting is and what a child's emotional behavior is. And we also need to not to forget that we were also passed from that kind of stage and we have come here.
Generally, especially above 10, we are facing a lot of problems with the kids when they are entering an adolescent. I want all the parents to communicate with the children. During their adolescent period.
My problem with parents and children relationship, the emotional abuse, occurs more in these parents wanting every child to be a high achiever. Every parent is so anxious about achievement, and that's where that's where we're getting children who are depressed, children who want to drop out, all sorts of problems.
So are these cases then, is this called emotional abuse that you're talking about?
I would call it emotion, because you're always comparing them, making their, as you said, their self-esteem is down, because they come to a stage when they think, I cannot achieve. This is the limit that I can go to. I'm not going to be an achiever. Or they go to the other extreme. You must have seen this child whose parent taught him how to drive, and 8-year-old was driving around at 150 kilometers.
Right.
That is also parental abuse, because the parent must have taught him to drive, allowed him to drive, and then makes a show of him. Today, all of us are chiding them, saying you are wrong. Now, what is that particular child feeling?
Right.
That what he did was wrong?
Right. So then, Sangeeta, if you force a child and you insist that a child, you have to study, you finish your homework, whatever, where are you going to draw the line? Would you call that emotional abuse as well?
No. I have parents coming to me who are overzealous, overambitious, overprotective, overindulgent, and I can call all overs there. Those are the kind of parents. I mean, they come with children having behavioral and emotional issues. We end up talking to the child and we realize it's the parent. It's the parent, either the mother or the father, who is unable to handle these behavioral issues in the child. And if we equip these parents to handle these issues in a better way, in fact, we have a solution there.
As parents, we always believe that we know best.
I have a student in my class. She used to get first mark only. But she is having one condition. I should not force her to take the lunch at school. She'll be crying, ma'am. She'll be crying like something. She'll be asking me, don't force me to have my lunch. I'll be telling, okay, I'll take you to principal's room. Then she'll be telling, I won't write the test well. This is one case. And one more case, ma'am. I have a doubt to doctor. So one student, so divorcee, one parent is a divorcee. That student was an average student only. But after this divorce, the mother is working a lot. She's striving a lot. And then this child is an average student only. But what she is coming and telling me, I am starving from morning till evening. I am earning money. But this girl is not at all coming in the first. So what can I do? Better giving education to my child. I can give this money to a beggar. So like this and all she's talking. And now the child is going back and back. I don't know what to do. So whether counseling should be done to the mother or to the child.
Right.
There is often a thin line that separates giving an idea to a child, telling him that this might benefit you, this might be good for you, and pushing your thought. You just want this is to be done. If you don't do this, you're going to get this. Or I'm going to put you into a dark room if you're not going to make or complete your homework. These are some things that we are used to it. We don't really make a change to them. And this attitude of not discussing with the child, not discussing what he likes, what is good for him, and making him understand is something that's very good, but not pushing our own thoughts to make sure that we get it.
Right. Let me hear from the girl here in black, please.
Yeah, nowadays the children are so much pressurized that the parents want them what their dreams, their children to fulfill what they wanted to do in their childhood. So they're not bothered about what the child wants to do in her life. They want, if the father wants to learn dance, if he's not able to do it, he wants his child to do it. And if she's not able to do it, they'll start telling, you're not fit for it, you're not able to do that and this.
Right. Okay, so Sangeeta, do you think the parents need counseling, or would you say that the children need counseling?
I think both.
What about the scars that children suffer, when they have been subjected to emotional abuse? I mean, do those ever go away?
No. I have a 14-year-old boy who's been constantly protected by his mother from outside dangers. Don't ask me what those dangers are. Huh? There are no real dangers. Mother keeps protecting him from dangerous things outside. I have a 22-year-old who's very successful in her profession, is extremely productive, but who's unable to overcome the sexual abuse that she went through when she was 5 years old. I have a 60-year-old person, who talks about how his father neglected him throughout his childhood. So there's no age barrier at all, and somehow our neural circuits in our brain tends to remember only these painful memories, You have so many positive memories, but somehow the brain only tends to remember these negative memories.
Right.
I mean,
And then let's hear from you, because you deal with so many cases like this. Is it at all erasable? Is there any way that these scars can be wiped away from one's mind?
No, most of them remember this as they grow up. And we've been talking about comparatively affluent family children going through this. Children from the poor, there's enormous discrimination against the girl child. The girl child is, suppressed, told she cannot do this, she cannot do that. That's so much of it. And that girl grows up with this entire thing in her mind that she's almost tied up in knots. And today girls see so much in the outside world. They have so much of ambition, but they are not allowed to step out into it and take those chances. There are so many forms. We've not spoken at all about children with disabilities. Starting with the minor disability of, learning disabilities, which is not very visible, to a really retarded child, the sort of abuse that happens, and particularly if the parent is overstressed, a poor parent who's earning a very difficult income life, who has a mentally retarded child, and then comes home to this child, tends to, show her stress and anger on this child. She doesn't have enough outside support systems to help her. So, but these children never forget. I think, as Dr. Sangeeta said, everybody remembers something that happened to them which hurt them, particularly hurt their self-esteem. It's not the physical scars that is there. It's the scar inside their mind and their psyche, which they carry throughout. And let's also warn, sometimes it becomes, I don't know, this may be wrong, but they repeat. How many have we heard saying, my father beat me, so what is wrong if I beat my child? No, that's the way to discipline. My mother scolded me, and that's why I am what I am. So we must scold. These sort of things, sometimes they also say there's research which shows that sexual abuse, you're coming to, can also be repetitive by the abused.
Right. So from our audience here, do you think it's at all ever possible to wipe away the scar of an unhappy memory or an unhappy incident that might have happened to any of us in our childhood?
I work with street children, and ma'am was saying girl children are neglected. But I know of this boy who's not given preference over his sisters. Even for Deepavali this year, he didn't get new clothes. And he wasn't allowed to burst the crackers that were bought for his sisters. And he goes to this NGO every day for tuition. I go there 3 times a week, and I can give him all that love and care that he needs. His mother doesn't speak up for him. His father emotionally abuses him. But he yearns for that love and affection. And he's always driving himself harder to come up to their expectant levels. He is class first, but his dad still abuses him. I don't think he will ever get over it. Probably he can love in life, but then he'll always want to be loved. I don't think he'll ever forget the abuse that he suffered in his childhood.
So here we're really talking about the fact that the scars of childhood, any kind of emotional abuse, never really go away, I think, and I think you've put it very, very beautifully to us. But these, of course, are issues that affect our children every day. We'll now take a very short break and come back to continue our discussion.